Evening, everybody, and welcome to another show from the Double Pivot podcast. Game week 9 was fun, but now we're moving on to game week 10. Alongside me is FPL Discomfort. I'm an FPL veteran. Kieran, how are you doing? How has your week been? We have not, every week it gets less and less. And I think we had about, 5 minutes talk just before this? Apart from that, not spoke to all week.
Even that was too long, right? I was telling you to just shut up.
That's it, mate.
Save it for the show. Save it. I don't care. I don't want to hear about FPL, mate. No, look, we're doing this a day earlier, because tomorrow's the greatest day of the year, as we all know. Happy Halloween tomorrow to everyone. Hope you all have good celebrations. I don't know if you caught FPL Juice, but they were complaining about trick or treating. What was your experience like for trick or treating growing up?
I love trick or treating. I always look forward to it, and I was like, "Oh, can we do trick or treating?" It was class.
See, my parents, Irish dad.
Right.
It was more so my mum though. My mum saw it as begging.
Yeah,
it's not okay knocking on someone else's door and asking for food. We can feed you. Like that, you're kind of missing the principle. And she was like, "No, it's American." So I lived in a cul-de-sac, and there were 8, maybe 9 houses. 2 of the houses had children similar sort of ages.
Yeah.
So we'd all go and do trick or treating at the same time. My sister was the eldest, so she'd escort us round there. And beforehand, our parents would go round to all the other houses and give them the sweets to give to us, and then check our bags when we came home to see if we got the right sweets. Like, what is it? Like, how are you not trusting? You're in a cul-de-sac and you think that like the youngs are going to poison us? Mental. To be fair, what we found out later about them, maybe my parents were onto something. We won't say much more about that.
Could we not air it on this podcast? No.
Probably not. I think one of my friends listens to this and he'll know exactly what I'm talking about as well. So I imagine I'll get a WhatsApp from him whenever it catches up on the pod. But yeah, and then as we got older, my sister was obviously too old to do it. So I was then the eldest, so it was my job. So we get to the house on the corner, and I'd send the kids to go knock on that one, and I'd just sprint to the like rich houses around the corner and just let's knock on these, let's get some quick like stash quickly. Like parents can't see us here, and I'll just be like, child X was taking ages. So that's why we were so long. Or they really like their costume, and they were talking to them. Like not I abandoned them to go and get like the real spoils. So yeah, like I'd look for a house like Nick's. Even when I wasn't trick or treat, if I was walking home from school and it was Halloween, and you see like a lovely manor with those pearly gates, etc., you are trick or treating on that, and you're like, I'm dressed up as a student. Give me your sweets now.
But then it changes, like as you get, I don't know what age it gets. Maybe I don't know, 14, 15, and it changes from trick or treating to egging, and then you look for the same kind of houses again next, and then and then you would smash it with eggs. Maybe that's a Scottish thing. I don't know. Did that happen in England? I'm not quite sure.
I think that's a Scottish. No, there was egging, but again on the cul-de-sac, and again that was the other thing my parents did. So we'd knock on all these houses, and then our living room was the front room, but we'd shut the curtains and turn the lights off and turn the TV facing the other way.
What? So no one knew you were in?
Well, obviously people know you're in, right?
Yeah.
Like you're clearly home, and that's like.
Yeah.
Now, the house never got eggs, but I think that's asking to be egged. Like, if I go knock on someone's door, and they're just like, everyone stay quiet, no one move. I'm like, I'm egging your house. I'm egging it.
I'm coming back next year. Yeah, if the car's in the driveway, I know you're in there. Don't turn the lights off and pull the curtains, because you're still getting it.
Well, that's it. And like I was saying, now, I aim to be out, watch whatever the scariest movie in the cinema is that day. You know, just go and experience that. Yeah, it's a nice day. Anyway, look, that we've gone way off topic, and
I know
we're
we
about
have,
4 minutes in.
But we like to, get in with the audience before we start. But no, I think you're like you're saying, it's been a hectic week for me, hectic week for you, always is. But now we're coming into a little bit of a chill period, which is good. We can concentrate on FPL, which is good because we need it. Because week to week it changes massively, doesn't it?
It does. Well, look, shall we have a look at last week to kick it off then? In that case, mate. Last week was an interesting one. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Someone made a comment and said on like one of our posts about the upcoming show and went, "You're gonna have to be careful. You're gonna lose credibility." Shane, you got 3 correct scores last week. Now I don't know, and I've not listened it back. I think I said 2-1 Arsenal, but when I wrote it on my phone, it says 2-W. So I don't know. That could be a 1. I don't know. So I've kind of accepted that I might have got that one wrong. If we listen it back, maybe I got a correct score there as well. But no, you got 3 correct scores in that, mate. Obviously, they were the boring scores. Like you, I was looking back at your scores after I saw you got correct scores, and you love a 2-1, don't you?
I try. I don't like. I don't like the same scores. Not even just because I don't think it'd be. I just think. Well, the chances of it is
Well,
fairly low.
you
But
say that. You predicted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that 6 2-1s out of 10 games?
1, 2, 3. No, 5, isn't it?
6.
1, 2, or 6. Yeah. Do you know what? I didn't even
I
notice
don't
that.
like predicting the same score, but you predict 2-1 on every single.
They were quite close games though, and it did show. It did show.
Well, yeah, 2 of them were 2-1.
That's it. If I just got all 2-1, then I might get a few every week. But
Well, actually,
no.
I think I've done you a disservice here, or I gave you too much credit. You've only got 2 correct scores looking at this, and we'll kind of go through them rather than just saying it. But I've given you a bold green for a 2-2 draw in Villa Bournemouth, and it
Yeah, I
was
was thinking
2-2.
that.
I was being generous, mate. I was feeling generous.
I mean, 1-1.
Same difference. It's
What
funny.
we
I
need to
was
do as
on.
well. We'll post these every week actually, Kieran. So accompanied by the link for the show, we'll post this. So we can keep us to account. Make sure we're not lying.
Nice. I was on Streamception and not on it, but I called in for the predictions.
Yeah.
And I didn't go with the same predictions I went with here. And actually, I did better because look, you can see I got quite a few wrong here. But there was some that I wish I'd got right. I wish I was so close to getting right because on Streamception I predicted a 1-1 City game. I predicted 1-1 on that, and that Southampton chance. I went, oh, imagine. I predicted Spurs to draw, and I wanted to predict them to lose because I did that as well. But look, we'll kind of go through them, and we can talk around the games that were kind of interesting. And you can stop me if there's anything you think that's worth talking about. But Leicester v Forest, I didn't watch this one. I was actually surprised. I went to the cinema again on Friday. It's kind of become a bit of a tradition for me. But I came out
on Halloween.
No, last Friday I did.
Oh no, tradition is in like every Friday you just go, or just.
I've just been going every Friday, to be honest. Rather than going out and having a couple of beers, I've just gone, tenner, movie, relax. Saw a good movie actually called The Substance that I would recommend particularly seeing in the cinema. Last 15 minutes I won't say much about. I've spoken with other people that have seen it. We've got mixed opinions on it, but yeah, definitely a good one. But yeah, I think I came out, saw that Chris Wood had scored twice.
Oh yeah. Chris Wood, would you? And I put it on my Twitter.
Looking at that as well, I put the right score the wrong way round there as well. I put 3-1. It was 1-3. But look, we know what happened there. It was a 3-1 Forest win, just to clarify if someone's just watching us and not listening.
Yeah.
3-1.
Yeah, I watched it on Friday night. Actually, that was the first game of the week. On Friday night, watched that with my little boy. Good to see Jimmy Vardy scoring again. Class, absolute throwback. Every time he scores, I love it. I just feel I'm back in like, when did they win the league? 2011 or something? Was that long ago? something like that. So it was good to see that. But yeah, Forest 3-1. I think 3-1 did flatter them a little bit. But every time I looked down, I was like, Chris Wood. Yeah, it was frustrating. But listen, he's on fire. It's good to see. Again, it's good to see a veteran striker that is, still banging him in.
Right manager, right? Like,
yeah, to use him in the right way. I wouldn't say he's overly dynamic. Nothing against him, but he's not like a Havertz who can put himself in different positions and push himself about. But no, listen, nevertheless, he's playing really, really well. And I did expect a little bit more from Leicester at home. I know Forest have been playing well, but again, if you watch it, 3-1 was a little bit flattering. It was a little bit closer. Leicester had quite a lot of chances. I mean, I've got Buonanotte. If anyone had him, he was a bit frustrating because he was basically getting like the through ball for the assist for the goal type sketch. But he was involved a lot, and his time will come. But Wood's time is just now, and phenomenal. Absolutely smashed him in. Everyone was going on about the assist, weren't they? The assist from the keeper to Wood. Do you think that was?
They were. Well, so here's the thing. I'm in other fantasy games, and they did not award it as an assist, but it's two different things, right? Yeah, because this was intended target assist from a goalkeeper, right? It was
I
the only
thought it
person
was.
he was aiming for. It took a minor deflection. It won't go down as an assist on any of the stats because
Did they take it off on FPL? It
no,
was
on
on.
FPL they give it, but that was one
Oh
where they
yeah.
didn't go with Opta, I believe, because it's one of their own sort of different rule type of things, particularly for goalkeepers. It's if it was a player playing that, they don't get the assist in like just in football in terms of like how the stats would record it, because it's a
Yeah.
significant touch from an opponent that possession should theoretically have changed at that point. It doesn't, but theoretically, like you wouldn't see it given. So no, I think from an FPL perspective, we want points for those kind of things. We want
Yeah.
points for assists from goalkeepers or strikers. Now, the assist for a goalkeeper still isn't like there's arguments that it's not enough, right? From people because of how infrequently a goalkeeper will get an assist. But you also don't want it to be prohibitive, so it's kind of a tricky one, right? Maybe an extra point for it might be worthwhile, but again, the more points it's worth, the more ones like this will be debated and argued over. Because if it's worth more than a normal assist, then people would be livid and going, well, Opta didn't give it, and this person didn't give it, so why are you giving it? And you don't do it for Solly March, type of thing, right?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. And yeah, I
They
think
can't win.
no, they can't win. I mean, people are saying, "Oh, just go and do, just go by Opta type sketch." I think they just need to clarify. I think it's the rule. I think it's the rule that makes it a little bit.
This one's listed. Like, this one's quite clear, in my
I
opinion.
thought it was. I looked at it because everyone, I was watching the game and people were like, "Oh, it's an assist." And I was like, "Well, I mean, that was intended." I get it because Face has changed the direction. And by the way, a lot of people held out for Wilt Phase. I know you liked him. I liked him.
I like him as a player, not as an
He's
option.
he's poor. No, yeah. Even in general, even as a player, he is a little bit poor, and
Well,
I
yes
don't know.
and no. Again, the more that I've been looking at things over the last couple of years, the more players' weaknesses are amplified if the systems they're deployed in expose it more. And like that's where someone like him, every player has a weakness, right? We know about certain ones where if you run at this defender like this, they won't be good at it. So the systems are set up to kind of protect them from that.
Yeah,
The over reliance on Price is significant given his capabilities, right? They are leaving him as the most exposed out of all of the defenders and protecting the other ones. So yeah, his will be amplified because of that, but I think that's also because they see him as the best out of all of them. So in turn, because he'll then be exposed more, he'll look worse than the others because they're being protected. They've got the coverage from the defensive midfielders. So it's a tricky one for him. It's also
yeah,
Chris Wood's a strong player. Like strikers can time it perfectly. They can get the right things on people. They can sway things. Yeah, I saw the goal. I saw the assist. It was decent enough. But yeah, think that game no real surprises. I know you were hoping for a Leicester win more so.
yeah. Even just when they're not involved, I mean, they're still scoring. They've scored in every single game so far, which is really good, and that's it's going to help the chances of staying up. But when they're not, I think his time will come, and for a cheat. But in the meantime, Wood, for me, I think it's a bit late to jump onto that, but I get why people go to it.
I get that.
Anyway, I think we're giving a bit too much to Leicester and Forest. It was a
That's
good
what I was
game,
thinking.
but
The next one was City Southampton. City looked like
oh,
you thought 7-0. 7-0.
well, it kind of looks like a one. That's 7.
Yeah. Look, I went 4-1. But like I said, like it could have been anything when City scored early.
Exactly. I
But
seen that Haaland. I was like, right, this is going to be big.
and he did the right things. Like it should have been a City dumping of Southampton.
It should have been.
But as someone whose triple captain failed miserably in the Wolves game, even though I captained him, there was significant Schadenfreude watching it and just getting enjoyment at the number of
Yeah, I bet.
people.
Yeah.
Because the number of people that there's so much variance involved, right? This was his second or third highest XG. We've heard it on the other pods in any of the games in the Premier League, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, in the Wolves game, he had a chance similar to the one he scored against Leicester in a similar amount of time, but he didn't make contact with it at all. And then later on in the game, he had an open goal and he missed the ball altogether. So his
Yeah.
XG was 0, right? But it's, again, these are the tiniest margins that we are playing and the things we can't control in this. So it was great to see. I could have been severely punished by him absolutely hauling in that game. Not punished, but as in I would have been made humbled. There we are,
Yeah.
humbled and not been able
Yeah.
to argue my point that doing it a week earlier wasn't the craziest thing in the world.
Mhm.
But yeah, I do think teams like Southampton, teams that see themselves as weaker, do have a system set up to protect themselves against teams that they're going to concede possession to, where they will get caught out from time to time.
Mhm.
But you're not going to see them. You're going to see Southampton get smashed 5 goals past them by a Brentford or a Brighton more often than by an Arsenal, Liverpool, or City.
Yeah, those mid teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I seen that first goal, Haaland. I was like, said to my, well, I was like, Haaland scored because he captained him as well, and I was like, right, this is going to be a battering. And he just kept on going. Like 20 minutes gone, I was like, the goal will be coming in. Nothing. 30 minutes, nothing. Half time, I was like, right, they're going to come out here firing. Foden, by the way, he's a fraud. He's an absolute fraud. He's been a fraud through the seasons that I've owned him as well. I think I'm done with most City assets, by the way. And this is why, if Arsenal can get their injuries, I know Saka's back. You know, if they can get the red cards under control and Odegaard comes back soon, this is why I said preseason Arsenal win the league. City, right? I know. Like you're saying, they set up well Southampton to play City, the big guys. But at the Etihad against Southampton, who are possibly one of the worst teams in the Prem ever, and they scrape a 1-0. Like it isn't. It's not becoming of champions. It really isn't. If people look back at the form, and I know they'll keep going, oh yeah, but City win 10 on the spin. Yes, I get that. But before that, they were always smashing teams away 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. You know what I mean? Like even like a 2-0 in there, 3-0, 1-0 against Southampton. And it's not even just this fixture as well. They're a bit light in midfield, and we said this preseason, Kieran, didn't we?
Mhm.
They're still a great team, granted. Listen, but they're conceding goals at a fairly high rate, not in terms of numbers, but just frequency. And I think it's going to cost them. And 1-0 against Southampton, it's still 3 points. They get it and they move on. But they're going to have to start upping their game if they've got any chance of winning the Prem. And I thought that's why Foden was going to start banging, because for them to win the Prem, Foden has to play well. But you just don't know what Pep's going to do day to day, mate.
No,
I mean,
exactly.
I didn't watch it because it was a 3 p.m. blackout, unfortunately, and I didn't have a said USB type plug-in thing. I know some people did, but listen, good credit to Southampton though. It could have been a cricket score, and most games this season have. So good effort for them. Poor by City. Again, we'll come
Yeah,
on to the
look,
fact that Haaland is expensive, but we'll come on to that a little probably later.
I think that's it. I think, look, let's be careful to not spend too much time on all of these games. 'Cause I think we're almost 20 minutes in, and we're on the second game, and we're obviously not going to review each of these games. And that's on my side
Yeah.
more so than yours. But we'll kind of like wrestle through the rest of these. Where, yeah, you predicted a draw for Villa Bournemouth, and it was just got the scores wrong. I think you kind of saw that spot on. You still have Evan Nilsson, don't you?
Yeah. In fact, yeah, I forgot about that little puppy. Came on. I was like, oh, he didn't start, did he? He came on. Semenyo played all right. And he came on and scored a goal. And he got 3 bonus points, which I was very surprised about at the end of the week. So
Right.
he's still useful there. So that's good. But yeah, I think our draw was a fair result, mate.
Perfect. Brighton Wolves. Well, look, Brighton threw away their 2-0 lead completely. Made no
Tell you,
sense at all.
just to quickly go back in the Villa. Rogers came off at 59 minutes, by the way. So if anyone's got him, just beware that they will come at some
But
point.
I thought he was a 90-minute man.
Well,
I love
that's
it
it,
when
mate.
90
I
minute
love
men
that,
come off on the
Kieran. I
59th.
love that because
Love
people are
it.
like, they were lucky that he's cheap enough. But I'm just, he's still a good asset. Have him, but just be wary he'll get benched. But yeah, onto the Brighton Wolves game, mate. Did you watch this one? Did you?
I just saw the highlights and yeah, look, naivety from Brighton, poor overcommitting attack with the wrong pass, and then no one getting back and just giving Cunha space to shoot. Strand Larson not that involved compared to Cunha. I think when the two of them are playing, quite clearly Cunha's going to be the one that is relied on more and expected to be doing more with the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we both got that wrong. You thought Wolves would win it. I don't like
Yeah.
Wolves. So,
But
yeah.
they have improved. Remember, I should have stuck by my guns, but listen, well changed. But the other week against City, I was like, they'll start playing well, and I think they have, because we said last week, mate, they have to improve. In these 3 games, they've got, I think they've got Palace and Leicester, I believe, or at least two easy ones, maybe Southampton. So they have to pick up points, and a fair play to them. They were down 2-0, and they came back with what, 3 minutes to go. Poor by Brighton. Poor by Brighton. He's getting a
Yeah,
bit
but
Spursy, isn't he? Like, I get he plays his way. I get that, and I love it. I love watching it. But just now and again, just 5 minutes to go, just bring it down.
well, no, but against Spurs he didn't do that. He kind of shut up shop. I think it was just the players did what he never would have asked them to do in that game. I think it was a flash in the pan moment where the players got overexcited when they won the ball up so high. And the press was too high. They got overexcited, and the wrong pass was made, and they were massively punished. I don't think we'll see them making that mistake, because
No,
that's
and
not what Hurts are like.
when you play a football game anyway, you know the time. You're asking the ref the time. 85 minutes, you're 2-0 up. You're like, game's done. Do you know what I mean? So again, like you're saying, a bit of
You can't
naivety.
turn down a 4-1. That's it. Like, when they've won it that high up, it just became one of those where, like, oh, what do we do? Oh, quickly pass it into the middle. That was too quick, type of aspect. But coming off of that and into, because you just went, oh, it was 2-2 draw from like Wolves' perspective and Gary O'Neill. But we're moving on to the Brentford Ipswich game, to a manager who, the more I learned, I didn't like Thomas Frank, and then I heard something about him that I've been saying to my friends for years, and I think I've mentioned it to you as well. Draws are the most pointless thing in football. If you are drawing a game, you should always risk the point to gain 2 extra ones, because you only have to convert that draw into a win 1 in 3 times to break even. More often than not, if you go for that win in a draw, you'll probably win 2 out of those 3. Or you'll win 1, you'll draw 1, you lose 1. That's still more points than just settling for a draw. And one manager who massively believes in that philosophy is Thomas Frank. And hearing that, and just someone being an advocate for something I've been saying for ages, and it's similar. I've had this conversation with friends, and we've seen emergence from an American football side of things. Go for it on 4th down. You should always, not always, but you should go for it on 4th down in American football way more than most coaches do. Yes, it's a risk, but the reward is worth so much more from what that risk you're losing. 10-yard field position, this case, 1 point. 1 point means nothing. You look at a table at the end of the season, the team that wins it is more often than not the team with the least draws, not the least losses. So,
that's a good point, actually. That's a good point.
So, yeah, I like Thomas Frank. I like Brentford. I bought in Visser to partner up in Bumo.
I've seen that,
Lovely that he got that second goal. Lovely of them to award it to him. Obviously, would have been nicer if they'd done that a couple of days earlier, or it shouldn't have really been a discussion, arguably, because it is going in.
Yeah, it was going in, yeah, it was.
It is what it is, but a good game,
good
right?
show.
We're seeing Ipswich we think we're going to start to see, or we were saying that at the start of the season, they'll attack teams. They might not win, but they'll get goals.
Yeah, they do. I just think... Yeah, listen, that was a great move bringing in Whistle. We were talking about him. He's class, just back from injury. I don't think he was a risk to... I know he played 30 minutes before, and people are like, well, he starts. Listen, he starts. He's usually fit. He's never really injured, and yeah, he started. But yeah, I wish I'd maybe taken my early move and brought him in as well. But yeah, he's class. And those two together, I know they didn't have a goal. It was like Wissa score from Mbuemo assist, but just those two even being on the park, usually it is that Mbuemo goal from Wissa assist all the way around. So yeah, those two, they're really good to watch, especially at home. And actually, to Brentford fans, listen, I'm quite surprised the manager's still there after another certain manager departed this week, which we will get on to. But yeah, we were kind of right. I mean, we both said 4, so quite free scoring. You were really close, 4-2. And obviously it finished 4-3. But no, it was a good game. And Brentford at home, they're worth the money. It's just away from home, they need to pick up a few more points.
Cool. From a good game to a not so good game, Everton-Fulham was a 1-1 draw. McNeil had a header that he just hit straight at the goalkeeper. Other than that, it was a pretty boring game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was poor, mate. I watched it. And well, when I say watch, I mean I had it on in the background. That's what I had, mate. Yeah, it was pretty poor. I mean, there's not too much to say on that. I mean, I did play the legend Michael Keane, and he did start. I did think he will. They're not going to rush Branthwaite back, but yeah, I was a bit gutted. I don't know. Did you see the goal? Or you probably watched the highlights, but they just let Iwobi just walk through. Obviously against his old club, and it was quite poor. At times they can be a bit slow to react. And if you watch that goal, there's at least three, almost four players around him at that time, and no one closes him down. That's all they had to do was close him down slightly. He doesn't even get that shot. But they listen. Nevertheless, Everton are improving. Fulham away from home a little bit of a different beast, but I think it was a fair result. In terms of players, I don't think, like I'm saying, I've got Keane. You don't have DCL, do you? No, you don't do.
God no.
Yeah, again, listen, I think he will score some in the next kind of few because they've got good fixtures, but I never liked that pick about 4 or 5 game weeks ago. And people who picked him are a little bit surprised that he's not really done anything, but I'm not really, mate. I'm not.
No, sweet. All right, look, let's rattle through the rest of these. We're gonna hit half of our allotted time. Well, that's not gonna be good. West Ham, Man U, never a penalty, but brilliant when it's another team seen another team get that. No, that should never be a penalty. VAR should not be intervening for stuff like that. In the
Yeah,
same
it
way,
wasn't.
we'll kind of address the Arsenal one here. Ref's got to let that continue, right?
What, when the West Ham one?
Well, no. So the West Ham one, they can't overrule the ref there, can they? You just can't.
Nah.
There's
Nah.
not enough contact there. That's not clear enough. The threshold was meant to be raised for overruling a referee, and this clearly was not a high enough threshold.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, nothing really else to say about that game, to be honest, mate.
Although,
yeah,
we
go
do
for it.
have to talk about a certain thing that happened 2 days ago after that game.
I don't think
And
that's
what I'm
to
going to
do with it.
find.
Do you? I think he was gone either way. I think the timing of all of this, we've got to take into account. It's going to take 1 to 3 weeks for Amarim to get a visa to work in the UK. So things have been going on for a while. It feels as if this just made
I
it.
don't
Yeah,
think I
let's
don't
do
think
it
it
right
has.
now.
I think it's panicked. But do you remember? I always remember pre-season, and we had this conversation. I was like, one of my predictions, one of them was Arsenal win the league, and the other one was Ten Hag to go within, and I can't remember. I have to look it back. It was either 15 or 10 games. Either way, he went in 9. So, and I think even you said at the start, Kieran, you were like, "Nah, he won't be away.
Well, no,
Nah, he
it's
won't
just
be away."
because it is stupid from them to let him buy players, and he is.
100%.
He's one of their most successful managers post Ferguson in terms of win percentage and trophies won.
Yeah. No, I get that.
So it's insanity to do it at this stage of the season, in between international breaks as well, just complicates things because of the fact that we aren't in the EU, so it will take a couple of weeks to get a visa for any foreign European manager. And if you do that
Yeah.
during the international break, you kind of offset that.
I mean, they're still, listen. They are well. I know there's a lot of United fans, right? But they are the joke club of the league. They are. They stuck by him. They could have sacked him off the after the cup that he won. That would have been thank you very much, and then they move on to pastures new. But to keep him, let him buy more players. Then, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a close game, and they stuck by him for a while. So then to do, I know it was West Ham, and they're not played the best, but it wasn't like a 3-0 drubbing or something like that. That was more visual. Yeah, I just don't understand what that club are doing. But yeah, I'm quite smug this week about it, Kieran, because he was going to go at some stage, sooner rather than later for me. But no, we'll have to see, and it might be maybe. Listen, I've been looking at a few of their assets already. I know a lot of other people, and it might be a good idea to bring them in.
No,
Garnacho
exactly.
played well the other day. Garnacho still played well. I don't know if you've seen the highlights, but
Well, his role won't be the same anymore.
no, if they play a 5 at the back, we'll do a special on that, Kieran. I'll tell you
5
what,
at the back.
we'll do a little
It's not.
special on
It's
that, won't
not
we?
a 5 at the back. People need to stop using the wrong formations for Amarim. Does my head in.
We'll maybe do a wee special on that, what we think. But yeah, moving on.
3 at the back.
What other game would you like?
Anyway, yeah. So Chelsea Newcastle, you got the correct score there on that one, mate. 2-1. Palmer could have had a haul. Could have had a haul.
Offside goal as well, didn't he? It was
Crazy
so
pass. Penalty that was overruled. Interestingly.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
For a similar amount of contact that was overruled the other way. So yeah, let's just interfere. Let's just say that we're not going to interfere, and then set the bar as, we still don't know what this one is, so we're going to change the opinion both times.
Yeah.
If that's not the definition of something not being clear and obvious, then I
Yeah.
don't know what is.
I don't know what is it.
Palace Spurs. Palace won. You saw
Well,
that coming. I did say
well.
that there's
Oh, I did
nothing
do
more,
Palace. Yes.
and we were saying, and actually on that note, don't know if you've seen this, but yeah, I was saying there's nothing more like finding your way into form than playing an Ange Postecoglou side. And Eze did get his assist. Got his assist.
He did, mate. He
He's
did.
come
And he
off
had a
injured today.
goal.
He's come
He
off
had a
injured
goal
today.
ruled off. Oh, is he?
Yep.
Yeah, he did have
So
a. And we said that. I think we were like, I bet you he gets something against Spurs. And just this inability of Spurs to keep a clean sheet. And I know he's like, we're not going to change. I get that. But I did say, well, I did think, I thought it would be at least a draw. And then, I did go for it. I'm surprised that Spurs didn't score, but it wasn't a big surprise to me that they lost, really. And
I know what you mean.
same with Solanke as well. I'm kind of glad I didn't go there because he's doing like a Kane roll. He's dropping deep, and his heat map shows anywhere bar the penalty area. So yeah, I'm glad I dodged that bullet. But they're a bit chalk and cheese, aren't they? The Spurs. One week they'll batter a team 5-4 another team. The other week you get beat by Palace 1-0. But I think that's maybe jading our view. I still think Palace are poor, and I think when we're talking the matchups next week, I think they get pumped.
Perfect.
That's the
Well, look, let's just get through this final one because our 5-minute sections now become 35 minutes. So Arsenal Liverpool was a 2-2 draw. Yeah, fair result in that. Arsenal dominated the first half and didn't make the most of their superiority. Should have been a couple of goals ahead to then deal with injuries or bad luck, and they didn't. Referee, I didn't have any major issues with him. I do think he made a mistake by blowing the whistle for the non-foul at the end, which, clearly you've got to let that continue, and he doesn't help himself by thinking about it and not blowing the whistle till Havertz is now through on goal, because at that point you now have to let it play out. You've given yourself enough time to think that you need to see what happens here.
Yeah.
I've heard arguments about it hitting Havertz's hand. Yep, but that wouldn't have been overruled because he's not the one who scored the goal. It's only if it's the goal scorer who accidentally handles it that you could disallow it. So, yeah, look, it's one of those. I actually don't mind it not being awarded, to be honest with you, because I think there's a few dubious calls. I think it's horrendous that players get penalised for one player not attempting to jump for the ball and backing into someone else, because that's more dangerous, and it should be penalised the other way round, not on the player who does jump and make contact with the ball. But there's enough dubious things there that, like, I get that the ref probably would have blown up for one of them. Maybe the handball, maybe the Havertz hand towards a player's face, whatever. So no real issues with it. I think the scoreline's fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's good for me.
Well, look, your team, Shane. Let's quickly rattle through it. 51 points. Did Fabianski? Well, why didn't you get Fabianski points subbing in for you, mate?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Ryan didn't play, did he? Listen, it wasn't too bad actually. Then Buemo done a bit. Evan Nielsen with his 3 bonus as well. It's like, right, that's not too bad. The fraud in the middle, Foden, absolute. Yeah, I didn't go into his detail.
Sorry,
but
you're calling him a fraud, but he's your second highest scoring midfielder.
What, this week? Yeah, fairly. Yeah, this week. Yeah. Yeah, no, he was, but yeah, I expect a lot more. I expect
In fact, he got triple the points of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Your double Liverpool defence is serving you well, so that's always good to see.
Yeah, I mean we didn't really go into it there, but yeah, Liverpool were. Yeah, Robertson got ripped apart. He might not even start next week. A lot of the fans are at him, but he's lost a step. But Rye as well got a yellow card, so that was good while I was watching the game. And it wasn't bad. I was doing quite well going into that game. I had those 3 assets, and I was like, oh, one of them should get a clean sheet. Nah, yellow cards. Not both two goals on each side.
It's almost like you wish you had an attacker you could have played instead for that game, right?
Yeah. I would have probably chose like a Salah, and then if not like a Saka. Which he was good on the middle, but he wasn't even the first sub either.
Do you own Saka?
I do. He's on my bench. If anyone's on the podcast on Spotify and listening, Saka was second on my bench to Konsa, which it's not really needed. And that's the one player change. If I bring Saka in, I'll get a green arrow. But if I did bring Saka in, I would have swapped him for Evan Nielsen. so I can take a
Fair.
little bit of solace in that. But if you think about it, I should have played him instead of Robertson, right?
Yeah, well, that's it. Four defenders
Pyramid.
is rarely going to be the way this
I think
season
it was
or
this
any
whole
season.
like. I actually just didn't think he was going to play, mate. I think it was, but no, in general, an average week, not too bad, and we keep on trucking, mate. Let's talk about your team. How did your team? I've not even seen how your team got on with it.
So I ended up going with option C, mate, or option B. I ended up taking a -8 last week.
Sometimes you need it. Sometimes we need it.
Yeah, and the players I took out were Kai Havertz, Sobslai, and Gabriel. They scored 2-1-1, and my replacements, Visser, Palmer, and 8 Nuri, scored 10-10-6. So it's a net gain of 14 points on a -8 there. I didn't play 8 Nuri. I probably should have over Mikalenko, but I didn't really think it, to be honest. I still didn't quite fancy it. That's the only decision that maybe I would have gone with. Delap was never starting over McNeil or Matoma or Foden. So yeah, look, my team had Mbumo and Wissa and Palmer getting double-digit hauls, captain of Haaland, and that's the majority of my points. So got a green arrow with a -8, so you take it.
I mean, yeah, 100%. No, it's a good team. Wissa, I sound a lot of people moving there. We didn't even talk about him. I don't even want to talk about. I'll talk him about in the veteran division, but Haaland, he's a bigger fraud than Foden. Anyway, we move on.
Cool. So look, to kind of get through these games, I guess not quicker, but just more structured, where we can kind of see who the best teams are by seeing how it all matches up on a wider basis. I've broken down shots for and shots against based on the matchups here, so we can kind of see Newcastle v Arsenal. This doesn't feel quite right, actually. We'll use this slide instead.
Yeah,
Yeah, this one's better because this is like where the shots are taken from and the shots were allowed from. And yeah, I think it's kind of interesting because again, it kind of shows these left, right, and middles, and these are ranked 1 to 20, right? Yeah. So this one looks a little bit more complicated for anyone who is looking on YouTube or watching this back. But basically, I've taken each fixture, so Newcastle and Arsenal, and matched up the shots taken from and the shots allowed from, so you can see them against each other. And then I've done it the other way around. So following that would be then Arsenal against Newcastle. So the shots allowed from are always on the right-hand side and shots taken from on the left. So again, we can kind of see that 1 to 20 order in there and look to jump out at some of those. And I think that's kind of the thing that I look to do, where I go, where are the shots allowed from? And let's try and find those big numbers and see who they're up against. And Leicester jump out as a team that allow a lot of shots, right? They've allowed 20 from the left, 20th from the middle. So they're the team that give up the most amount of shots from the left and the middle. The problem, they're playing Ipswich, who are 17th and 19th for taking shots from those positions.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting game, though. I think Ipswich-Leicester, like, what's your thoughts? That's probably one of the games that, when I was just looking at them early on, stood out to me, and probably one for us to kind of look at first, because it's two promoted teams fighting where it is a true 6 pointer, right?
Oh, it is. I know people are like, oh, it's no 6 pointers, blah, blah, blah. But it is. It is a huge game.
It's interesting. I've just realised that these colours, for whatever reason, the background's changed colour, and it's now meant that we can't see the stats here for Ipswich. So we actually won't spend too much time on this one, actually looking at it, because unfortunately those have disappeared. I can see them on my screen, however. So to kind of say, Ipswich have scored 4 goals from open play, 3 on the counter-attack, and 2 set-piece goals. And they have conceded 16 goals from open play, 1 from set-pieces. So it's an open game, right? Definitely an open game between two teams.
Anyway,
are you favouring the home team, or are you favouring the away team?
I'd see, before these run of 2-3 games, I probably would have fancied Ipswich, but now I don't know. Even though Leicester got beat at the weekend by Forest, who they're playing well, by the way. Ipswich, they're still scoring goals, but it's just a bit fragile. I think Leicester win. I do. I mean, we'll come on to predictions, but I just think.
Well, we might as well do the predictions as we're on this team now, right?
Yeah, let's go. I'm going to go 2-1. No, I stand at 2-1. I will. Do you know what? I'll go 3-1 Leicester.
3-1 Leicester.
Yeah, I think it'll start well. I think Ipswich will actually probably go ahead, but I think they'll just get pegged back and then they'll just start a little bit of a downfall, mate. What about yourself? What do you think? Ipswich, Leicester.
Yeah, I think similar, really. I think, like, if we go back to it, there's nothing. It does feel like the perfect matchup to be playing Leicester, just in general.
Yeah.
And maybe that right-hand side for Ipswich is something that's in their favour. Um, it's a tough one. What surprised me is Ipswich don't actually allow that many shots. They seem to be quite good at protecting themselves on
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah, I was
yeah,
quite.
look, I still think on these kind of a game, Leicester are going to fancy it. I'll go with a score draw. I think I'll go with a 2-2 for that game.
So yeah, I can quite see it. There'll be goals. There will be goals.
It will indeed.
Yeah, is anyone that's jumping out at you?
Well, I guess so. As someone, as a person who put it together, I can kind of see these things more so. But more interested to see as it's your first time looking at it. Like, is there anything here that you look at and go, didn't expect that?
I think the
There's one thing that
Liverpool
really surprises me here about one of the teams. Well, a team without a manager.
a team without a manager. I wonder who that is. Yeah, I mean, just looking through, I thought Liverpool, Brighton would be a lot of goals, but looking at this, I don't know. The stats don't say that, do they? Liverpool, Brighton.
Does that say that both those teams are good at stopping people from having
Yeah.
shots against them? I think actually, look, if we jump into that game in a bit more detail, I'm just going to check that the colours work on that one before I jump to it. Yeah, they do. Cool. So, oh, too far. So look, both of the teams do score goals, but Liverpool's defence is really good.
Yeah.
Brighton's defence isn't as good, clearly. In fact, it's double as bad in terms of the number conceded. But again, it keeps coming back to like this Liverpool expected goals conceded is high, or 9.55 now. They've only conceded 5. But actually, last week, they were sitting around like 8 point something and they conceded 3. So in one game without Alisson, yes, it was against Arsenal, but in one game without Alisson, their
Yeah.
goals conceded is getting closer to their expected goals conceded. And we know Alisson's good. We know that he makes a difference.
He does. But I think it was just down to the defending. That first goal, Saka scored. Robertson just, I don't even know what he did. It was just poor. So like it was good finishing stuff, but Robertson was definitely a fault there. And yeah, they are different. They are different without him. There's no question about it. That's what you pay the money for a fantastic goalkeeper like that. So I mean, he's out for quite a while, isn't he? Long term
I think
or
until
medium
after
term.
the international break, so probably early November he'll be back, or mid-November.
So yeah, at least another few games. So you know that number's probably going to rise for Liverpool, and the defense won't be as good. But yeah,
What's
Brighton.
interesting is looking at the goals that Liverpool have conceded, one at set pieces. So that Arsenal one was the first set piece goal Liverpool have conceded this season.
Was it?
And it's against a team that you'd expect if any team was going to score a set piece goal against them, it'll be Arsenal. So I wouldn't really be expecting that to be repeated. Brighton do have Dunk injured. They also have Ferdy Kadioglu has gone off at half time injured today.
Lots of people getting injured today.
Yep, Ezra's gone off injured for Palace.
Van de Ven's gone off injured.
Van de Ven off injured. Martinelli was holding his leg earlier. I think in this one, you could kind of maybe see a Liverpool penalty here, right? With Brighton giving away a couple, Liverpool scoring a couple.
I thought exactly the same, mate. That's a great shout.
And where can we expect the shots to come from? Nothing really jumps out here. What does jump out is that Liverpool have the same amount of shots from their left as they do their right. So Salah or AD are taking the same amount of shots. Brighton more are coming in from Matoma than from. Well, I think that's because they've been without Minter for a couple of games. So those numbers are going to start because early season it was the other way around. So yeah, I don't know. On this game, I think it's a comfortable Liverpool win, to be honest. I think Brighton try to put up a bit of a fight, but Liverpool go on to win it comfortably. So I'll go with the 3-1 Liverpool for this one.
Oh, I was actually thinking the same.
You can copy me, mate.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, do they score? I think they do. I think the defense is kind of just gone down a little bit. Yeah, I'll go the same score because that was in my head. I'll go 3-1. We're both the same on that. And by the way, if anyone needs to check who they think is going to score, Salah's got a fantastic record against Brighton. Fantastic. In the last 5, he scored 3 and assisted 2. 1 was a penalty as well. So Yeah, if there's anyone you're looking at getting in this weekend, it will probably be against a fairly attacking Brighton.
So here's the game that I want to talk about, because this is when I was putting together all of the shots, I was trying to work out what the average number of shots taken from each area was. And the slides that I've got, that I say in the middle, etc., and where for every single team, unsurprisingly, the most common place that each team takes shots from is the middle. And the team that take the least amount of shots from the middle of the pitch are still above any other team taking a shot from either side. Right? So if we remove the middle or the center from it, I wanted to know which position, left or right, and which team takes the most amount of shots. Without knowing anything, Shane.
If you just looked at the stats.
Yep. Now, one team in one area of the pitch have taken 35 shots through 9 games. Which team would you guess it is, and what side of the pitch would you say they're shooting from?
I'm trying to look for 35 on the table.
No, these are ranked 1 to 20, mate. So these are whether they're the best or the worst.
Okay,
This is where they rank against each team in that position.
So from what side did you say?
Well, either. Not the middle, though. So we're removing the middle.
Okay, and it's either left or right, and it's a side that 35 shots down one side. It's a toughie. I like this. I'm going to go for... I was going to go for Newcastle, but I don't even think they've had that amount of shots.
I'll give you a clue, because you're looking at this graph in front. Make sure whichever team you say has a 1 next to them. In green on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You said you were going to say Newcastle, and they've had the 9th most amount of shots from the left and the 15th.
Oh, wasn't okay. I wasn't looking before that. Oh, it's a team that that I'm not very fond for. Man United, is it?
On their left, Man United have taken 35 shots. That's followed by Tottenham's right taking 34, West Ham's right taking 31, and that's it in the 30s.
West Ham. So what?
The places that take the top 5 for areas of the pitch shots are taken from. If you remove the centre, in number 1 is left-hand side for Man U. Number 2 is the right-hand side for Spurs. Number 3 is the right-hand side for West Ham. So if we go through it, we're going Garnacho, Brennan Johnson, Jared Bowen.
Bowen, yeah.
Right-hand side for Chelsea, Madueke or Palmer sometimes. Left-hand side for City. That surprised me.
Yeah, left-hand side.
Yep, and then the right-hand side for Arsenal, one behind that. Then the left-hand side for Forest, and then the left and the right for Bournemouth, before Man U's right rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, looking at it that way, especially today, it's interesting to look at.
And the ideal game we're looking for is Man United take 35 shots from the left, Brentford concede 37 shots from the left. So when that game happens, Garnacho captain maybe? It's the same, like Spurs versus Leicester. They rank second for the shots on either side. So again, that's what I found quite interesting looking at this. And I think on that basis, Shane, the next game I want to jump to is actually the City-Bournemouth one. Because if you look at these numbers on here, City, unsurprisingly, are second and first for taking shots from the left and the middle. Unfortunately for them, Bournemouth are pretty good at defending shots from the left. They're the third best team. They let the third least amount of shots from the left.
Yeah.
On the right, they're really bad. 15. So you're like, City can have some joy from the right-hand side. However, City rank 13th for taking shots from the right-hand side.
That's Bournemouth's right-hand side, isn't it?
Yeah. No,
so that'll be
City's right-hand side.
Oh, City's right-hand side. So that'll be their
left-hand side. Yeah. So I've flipped those numbers around so that they do combine on it.
Yeah, got you.
So yeah, when you're looking at the left, you're looking at the left for the defence as well. So they will be the right-hand side of the defence just to make it easier.
Yeah.
So yeah, the numbers don't match up. We want them to, but they don't. It's the other way around. We want, and it makes sense again when you think about who the teams are and where they set up. And Bournemouth's defence does favour defending one side over the other.
Yeah.
But looking at the game, is at Bournemouth.
It's
City
tough, mate.
concede goals.
Listen, it's tough down there. It's tough. Big teams. I didn't even know how big a stadium that is. Well, I'll have a wee check, but it's small, isn't it? We're talking like 18,000 or 20,000.
It's pretty small.
It's in fact, is that right? No, capacity 11,000.
No,
Is it?
surely.
No, I mean I've
Surely
just
you
looked
need to
here.
have more than that in the Prem.
Yeah, you must do. But anyway, I think it's in the teens, which is quite small. It's probably like a normal big stadium in Scotland. But yeah, big teams don't like going down there, and a lot of people are like, oh, I think there was a few people saying, oh, Bournemouth might be a better suited to them and stuff like that. City aren't rolling; they're not smashing it, and I don't think they're going to smash it the weekend. Do you think those stats have changed your mind? Like mainly on the right hand side, do you think who's going to start there? Savino, sorry.
To be honest with you, I actually think this is a great game for Haaland. I think it's a fantastic game for him because I think there will be so much space that is allowed by Bournemouth. I think they are the type of team that City will enjoy because Bournemouth deploy a high press and City have the ability to play through a high press. And one of the ways of playing through that high press is a very direct ball towards Haaland.
Yeah.
And him up against a high press with that gap in between the lines or running at the last defender, we know what he's capable of. I don't think he's going to be limited to, sitting in the box and waiting for someone to pass him the ball. I think this is going to be a game where he gets to actually stretch his legs. So I actually think this is a really good game for City. I'll predict first again. I'm happy to, and I'll go. I think this is a 4-1 City.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been looking back at some older games that they've had, like matchups. Their last game at Bournemouth was at home. City only won 1-0. The game before that, 4-1. And the game before that, again, 3-1 at Bournemouth. Again, it's different, that's a while ago, the different teams. I just think City, they're not motoring. They're not clicking. Bournemouth are playing really well. Do I still see a City win? That's the thing. I mean, you'd be a hard betting man against someone who didn't, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going 1-1. I'm doing it. 1-1 City. I
Wow.
just feel, and again, I'm not like, oh, just do that to be a bit different. I think Bournemouth score, and I think City find it hard to score. Yeah, okay, they could easily win 2-1, but I just think Bournemouth will put up a good fight, and I think from maybe this week, Pep will notice and go, do you know what? We need to start motoring along a little bit. They got lucky at Arsenal. They got a little bit lucky at home against Southampton. And I think this is a tough game that if they're not at the top of if Haaland's not putting away those chances, which he could easily, from one week to the other, they will, they'll draw. And I'm going to go for it. 1-1. 1-1, my friend.
Fair enough. Cool. Well, look, we'll jump back to the top here, and we'll go with the Arsenal Bournemouth one. And again, it's one
Love
of
this
those
stat, by the way.
where
Love this stat.
when we look at Newcastle again here, just on this chart for the shots allowed from, bang, lovely number, 19th. They are the second worst team for shots coming from the left. Arsenal, shots taken from, they're the second worst team for taking shots from the left. So we wanted the dream matchup. We don't have it, but I do think that's an interesting one because Arsenal are the kind of team that actually have a player in Martinelli that is capable and starting to show the form that can take advantage from the amount of shots that Newcastle allow on that side compared to other teams. So I do think it's a better opportunity than potentially people realise.
Yeah, and Martinelli's he's always a little bit under the radar. I mean, did he come off tonight as well? I mean, listen, he's still got time to recover and stuff, but yeah.
He's still on the pitch because he's just missed a shot.
I think, again, current form brings it in, but yeah, you're right. I mean, Newcastle they are not pushing on to what me and most people thought, are they?
No, they're just not looking good, are they? They are.
I know they've not bought many players. I get it, right? And that's good, right? You don't want to go out and just, look at Man United, what they spent over $1 billion and it's got them nowhere. But yeah, I did expect a little bit more. They got Tonali back. They've got, what's his name in the middle? Centre mid.
What's his name? Bruno Guimaraes?
No. It'll come to me anyway. But the main point is they've got a strong 11 back, and they're not
Joe
progressing.
Ellington.
Is what I thought. Joe Linton, I call him. Joe Ellington. My little boy's got him actually. He plays
Joe
well,
Ellington.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I just think they're not pushing on how they expect. But it's still going to be a tough game for Arsenal. It is, especially with
Because
defence a little bit. Do you
you,
think
you
it's going
kind
to have
of
much
look at it.
effect?
No, I don't think this kind of a game will, to be honest. I think this is one where Arsenal do just have a lot of the possession and should be able to deal with it. I think the Liverpool one was just a horrific one to be without Saliba. To then lose Gabriel as well during it just is a nightmare. When you also then don't have a left back that you normally play with.
Could they both be? Well, obviously Saliba won't be playing.
Saliba's back. Saliba's playing today.
Oh, he is. No, but he's. What I'm saying is he's not back in this game, is he? Still
Yeah, he
suspended.
is. No, it's just one game suspension.
Okay. So he's back.
Yeah, it's just one game,
All right,
yeah.
okay. And then at least Gabriel should be back. If he's not, at least they've got
No,
one.
Gabriel won't be back. He won't be rushed
for a
back.
while.
I've heard mixed things on him, which is probably normal now for Arsenal because they don't want the right thing to be the only thing that comes out. From my opinion, I'd expect him to not be risked until after the international break, and even then after it, possibly not be used until he's needed, because we are going to be going into a busy fixture period. So it all depends how bad of a strain it is, or if it even is a strain.
Yeah. And by the way, while we're talking this, it's good info. Got quite a few other people who just joined us. We've had an
Alfred.
An Alfred. By the way, listen, if you don't follow Alf, go and follow him on X. Great. He does shows every night. We don't normally do one at this time, Kieran, do we? So he was on.
We're invading on his time, but you
we
can
are.
see him down in our
Don't
bottom right-hand corner now. We have a good relationship with Alf. He's a good
Top
friend.
guy.
Look, we are refusing to have a guest jump onto our show until Alf is that person. We want him to be the first one. I've said it to him. He's been invited on all the time. And look, unfortunately, well, for us, he has a life and a family as well as his own things that he does. So times haven't aligned. And now it might look like we've gone, well, if we can't do it together, we're doing it at your time. No, we're not. We obviously, this is the only time I could do. But no, good to have people jumping in here.
Yeah, Com's here, Onions
Wade's
is
here. Onions is here.
Oh, big
I know
Wade,
Onions
big man.
jumped in for a second. Wade is one of the people that'll be on the wheel later, so we'll obviously go on to him. Going back to this then, mate. Did we put in predictions for Arsenal Newcastle? I don't think we did.
No,
did we?
we didn't actually. We didn't. So listen, your team. I'll let you go first. I'm unsure.
Well, I've gone first on the last two, so I have to let you go first here.
So okay? I'll give you a little bit of a thinking time.
I don't need time to think, mate. I know exactly what the score will be.
I think Newcastle put up a little bit better of a fight there. Again, I think there are a lot of teams just now a bit yin yang, a little bit chalk and cheese. It's at home, so that does make it a little bit closer. But I still think Arsenal do get the win, and I think they get a clean sheet as well. And I'll go 2-0. 2-0 Arsenal.
Okay.
I think they just have. They'll be a little bit too strong. Newcastle just aren't clicking that well just now, and I think this clean sheet, Newcastle not scoring at home, there'll be a little bit more pressure on Eddie Howe now.
Nice. All right, where do you want to go to next?
Did you do your prediction?
Oh yeah, sorry, 3-1. 3-1 Arsenal.
3-1. Sound.
I'd written mine down. I'd written mine down and forgot to say it to you. Yeah, I'll go 3-1 Arsenal. And I do think Arsenal's left-hand side might actually wake up.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Obviously, Big Colm, he put 2-0 as well. So.
Oh, so you copied Colm's answer? Cool. Yeah.
I did. Colm, thank you very much. I was stuck, and he's usually right predictions, so I went with him. But yeah, so what's the next one?
Well, it's up to you. You can pick any of them, really. We've done everything down to where it says Brighton, so you can pick anything.
I would like.
Is there any numbers that jump out here that we kind of then want to look a little bit deeper?
I would like to jump. We were talking about Man United from the left. I'd love to talk about the Man United Chelsea game because there's a lot of dynamics in the background that, they don't have a manager. Well, they get a little bit of manager bounce with Ruud. Who knows? But Chelsea, they're still brilliant coming forward. Cole Palmer, by the way, we say it every week, mate, but he's unbelievable. He's actually unbelievable. There's a guy that I work with, actually, and I'll have to take a picture next few days. He looks just like him. So I have to see how many people fall for, met Cole Palmer today. But yeah, I'd like to, that's quite an interesting matchup. Before you would think Chelsea, 100%, maybe not 100%, but, more than 70. What's your thoughts now?
Fuck it.
Is that changed with the manager gone, or the stats that we can see here? What are you thinking?
Sorry, I was just trying to make it so that Chelsea said Chelsea like it does on my prediction or on my page right now instead of Chelsea EA. For how the names appear in there. I think it'll be an exciting game. I think both teams get a couple of goals in this. Man United have been underperforming, but is that because Ten Hag's, I don't know, it
Terrible,
maybe lost
terrible.
them? Because they've then, they're playing Leicester in a cup game, so again, I don't care about the League Cup, but they are scoring goals. So
What is
that
this?
does give confidence.
What score is that?
It was 4-2 when I last looked, with
Jesus,
Casemiro scoring 2 and
with
almost
free
scoring
scoring
a hat-trick.
Casemiro.
Yeah, he
Oh.
almost had a hat-trick. 5-2 now.
5-2. I mean that's the thing. Like
Bruno with a brace, Casemiro with a brace, and Garnacho with a goal.
Here we go. Analytics FC is back, baby.
But
I've seen a lot of people move to him. I've seen a lot of people go there.
I like it. I like it not because he's right now. Look, two players that I will be monitoring at Man United and probably move to relatively soonish, particularly when Amorim is in, is Mazraoui, because Mazraoui should be the right back. And here's the thing: the reason why when you plays with a back five, and I mean he doesn't play with that, the way he sets up is he has his back three, his three centre backs, who are incredibly mobile, who are fantastic passers.
Yep.
So you look at the Man U defence and you go, well, that's ruling out a couple of their centre backs there, right? But they actually do have the talent there in Martinez, De Ligt, and Euro when he's fit. But what he then wants is his wing backs to be on the same line as the midfielders. So it's more like a 3-4-3. It's even different to that, but from building up from play from the back, the fullbacks are never in screenshot. The defensive midfielders drop down deeper than the wing backs are. So the wing backs focus more on attack than they do defence. So someone like Mazraoui would be quality on the right. On the left-hand side, I was watching a video from James Alcott, and he's actually gone maybe Garnacho could end up there, which might put people off Garnacho, but he'd still be playing as a left winger. Even though he's a back five, he's not. He's in a midfield four. The ones that I would be looking at, though, like I said, Mazraoui, but Bruno will be playing as one of the two tens right up front with the striker. And that would be exciting because Bruno has the ability. We know that. He's not been hitting the ball correctly. And he is probably starting to find his way back in. And maybe that's because he's going to enjoy playing football again with a Portuguese manager.
And I just think Ten Hag did stunt them. Listen, I think they've got better players there than what they've been playing. And I think Ten Hag, the way he plays and the instructions he gives the players, I think we will see over the next 3 or 4 games before Amorim. I think I just seen someone said that game week 12, Amorim's looking to come in because, like you said, it'll take a few weeks. I think even in that time, they'll get the lift from Rude. And like you're saying, they're not bad players overnight. I think he was stunting them so much. And yeah, people already moved on. Bruno Garnacho, I love that shot anyway because he's been playing well in a team that's not been playing well. And yeah, I'm actually quite bullish on him, which is good because you know what I'm like, and I'm not a big fan of United. Everyone who listens to the pod knows me. I'm not anti-United, but just they're a bit of a joke club. But even me can take that hat off and think, do you know what? It's maybe a really, really good time where we can get them in. Like you're saying, you said Mazraoui, I actually like him, like watching him, he's a good player. And even, I'm going to the depths, Kieran, of Dallo. Do you think he could become an option?
No.
Fairly? No, just no.
Well, no. The reason why I'm saying no is because Mazraoui is better on the right than Dallo is.
Yeah, granted.
And
Against
Dallo
the weaker sides I'm playing. You know, against the Liverpools, the Ipswiches.
But you're going to be playing the same teams week in, week out. In an Amorim side, like those plays will be the same, in my opinion. So
yeah.
I think a Mazraoui gets that role on the right, and maybe a Dallo starts off playing it as the left wing back, stroke winger, but he's right-footed. And that just isn't going to work because the whole job that they do in an Amorim system is they are the ones who keep the width and allow everyone else to find the spaces in the half space. If they lose that width, if Dallo cuts in, the whole system falls apart because there is no more width there.
It's funny. Can you just quickly go back to that big table of stats? And you were talking there. Man United is the number 1 ranked team for attacks down the.
Well, any shots that aren't down the middle.
Yeah, but particularly they're number one ranked on their left, aren't they?
Yep.
And again, just to enhance that, looking at the team, set up tonight, Casemiro's he's defensive mid, but you can see he's slightly on the left. He scored 2 goals tonight. Fernandez in the 10, he scored 2. All right, that's down the middle. But then on the left, who's linked all together, who's got a goal and assist tonight, is Garnacho as well. So even just in the EFL Cup, this data here, it does have some resonance and some quality about it. It's definitely one to consider to game week 10.
Exactly, and I think that's the key thing with United. Just keep an eye on them just as a team, right? Let's monitor and see what happens as things continue.
What about
to
other defenders? I've seen a few people talk about Delict. Think about bringing him in.
Nah.
My little boy's brought Martinez in, by the way.
Ignore that this says Palace v Tottenham at the top. It is Man United Chelsea, as you can see. It confused me for a while. Look, Martinez has incredible passing range, and again, like Mazraoui is the only defender I'd go with. He's the only defender yeah, but again, this isn't Amorim, is it? This is Ruud van Nistelrooy, who won't be at Man United. So that's the key thing. Like for me, De Ligt makes sense. Mazraoui makes sense. Martinez has the passing range. Martinez is the one that's got the guaranteed minutes already. The other two, when they get the minutes, I think are going to have more upside. But I wouldn't rush into Man United ones. For this game, though, I think I'm going with another 2-2, to be honest with you, mate, for Man United Chelsea. What about you?
Yeah, it's a tough one. United are at home, so they'll be a bit bullish. Do I dare go for a win? It's a difficult one. A draw. I think I do go for a draw. And do you know what I go for? This calls for this. I think this. Oh, can I do that? I was thinking about 0-0, but that's insane because both of them can't defend at all. I go. I need you to fill, Kieran. I'm thinking. Let's go for off the top of my head. Bam, 2-1 Chelsea.
Okay. Cool.
I think
Look, we're through some of the more exciting ones, so we're kind of just going to rattle through the last 5 here, kind of in order. Forest West Ham. Chris Wood at home. Forest defence is looking good. West Ham were the whipping boys, right? And then they suddenly beat Man United. So are they going to take some hope from that? Could they do something in this game? Are Forest going to score their full set piece and West Ham concede their full set piece goal this season? And if so, will it be Milenkovic getting his head on it, or will it be someone else? Tell us all about it, Shane.
Yeah, I think it's good that there's been a lot of teams that have just picked up a little bit of form. West Ham, Wolves. It's good. It's ever changing. Forest on the forefront. We think Forest v West Ham. That's a bit of a battering for Forest, but these kind of games, Forest seem to go back to what they used to be like before, where it's a very, very cagey affair. And they actually end up losing. I think this suits West Ham fairly well, actually. Especially like you were saying on that stat earlier, they take a lot of shots from the right. Bowen, we know he's typically a bit of a clump form player, and he is coming into a bit of form. 2 returns in the last 2. And I think Bowen starts coming back into our thoughts now as well. In terms of predictions, I'm pretty bullish on a West Ham win here. The only thing is it 2-1 or 3-1? I go 2-1. Still a tight one, but I go 2-1 West Ham, mate. What do you think? Do you think Forest are going to continue their ascendancy up the table, or do you think West Ham start getting a little bit more form?
I think it's another Forest one, to be honest.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think it's
just the run. Yeah, they've been. Yeah.
So were you 2-1 West Ham there? Sorry, I lost the page on the side.
2-1. Yeah, I was 2-1, mate.
I'm going to go with a 1-0 to Forest on this, I think.
Talking of 2-1, Palace have beaten Villa 2-1. But anyway, 2-1 Forest. Yeah, it'll be a cage affair, won't it? It'll still be a cage affair.
Well, I went 1-0. 1-0 Forest.
Yeah, I can see that. Who do you think will score that?
I think set piece goal. I don't know. Once I saw that,
I was thinking
a small number. 3 and 3 are tiny numbers, but it is 20% of the goals West Ham have conceded, and it is 25% of the goals Forest have scored. So
I think the way West Ham
overlap there,
the way they're set up, the way they'll be set up for this, like Onions has put up there, Bowen, I think this will be set up for him. They'll soak up a bit of pressure against Forest, especially away from home, and hit him on the break. And yeah, he'll start coming into our thinking.
Nice.
By the way, can I just
Okay.
say, I've just noticed, didn't even know Tottenham were playing City tonight. Tottenham are beating Man City 2-1, which is pretty crazy, baby. It's only half time, so they've got a little bit more.
The scary thing about that, though, is Pep said he wouldn't play his first team, right? So the word
Yes.
for warning for anyone who believes
Look at
Pep
that lineup.
is that he started with Phil Foden, he started with Rico Lewis.
He's playing Foden's a false 9.
Yep.
I've just looked. Yeah.
And losing, surprisingly.
Yeah, and this is, mate, this is what I'm talking about the weekend. I know he's trying to save some people, but he's getting too big for his own little.
Yeah, but he
boots,
doesn't
Kieran.
know. But mate, I don't care about. I start caring about the League Cup, and even then I don't care about it, but I start paying attention to it as a fan
Yeah.
in the semi-finals.
No, I get that. I'm the same. I just mean in
I don't think
general.
Pep cares about it, and I don't. I think he will play some of the players from this. Quite clearly, they will be playing, right?
But he said he's not bothered. He doesn't want to prioritize it, and I get that.
Yeah, there's not prioritising it, but like, he'll definitely be playing a couple of those defenders. He can't rest all of Ake, Diaz, Stones, and Lewis in the next game. So
yeah, but then that's. I just think again, you don't want to play the full string side, but they're not even clicking in the first 11. So he's completely right. There's not like 40-50% of that
But
team.
they're winning. They're still winning. That's
No,
the
they're not.
thing.
They're getting beat.
What, City?
Yeah,
No, but they don't want.
Tottenham.
Yeah, but they don't want to win this game. Losing more games in this competition, I would rather, again, as an Arsenal fan, I'd rather we just get knocked out of this cup.
No,
Because
I
winning
get
this
that, but
trophy doesn't mean anything to
I
bigger
know,
clubs.
but yeah, if that's the case, play the kids. Play the full kids then.
Well,
You know what I mean?
We did.
Yeah, I know you did. I just think it's not.
He's
It doesn't
given a
bode
chance
well
to
for
some
you.
of the kids, and we've given a chance to some because you've got to blend it in, right? You can't send the kids out against a team like Spurs to get absolutely annihilated and bullied off the ball. You need a blend. So starting Matt O'Reilly, starting McAtee as well, giving both of them a game. And then we've got to appreciate Mateus Nunes is still fitting into the team. Savio's like 12 years old. They don't really have that many other ones. Yeah, I think he's done enough there to justify it. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Let's move on to this Southampton-Everton game, though. This, again, another one which is going to be pretty important. Southampton love conceding goals, don't they? They're almost as bad as Wolves.
Unless they're playing City, then they're pretty solid.
And this is the kind of game where you'd expect Everton score more goals than City did, right? Because Southampton aren't going to be sitting back against Everton. They'll go for it. And that will create that space for that's the problem when you then look at Everton. For a who? Mikalenko to run down the wing and then cross it for Dominic Calvert-Lewin to miss? What are we expecting in a game like this? Are we relying on a McNeil goal again?
I mean, McNeil, I was watching the weekend. He's heavily involved in everything. He's got a lot of threat. I still wouldn't get him in, but that's just me. But I think.
What about? Do you still have Michael Keane?
I do still have Michael Keane.
Mate, I think you've got to play him this week. Look at those goals for and goals against the set pieces for Everton and Southampton. 7 goals conceded by Southampton from set pieces.
I mean, listen, I've still got, a little bit spoiler, but I've still got double Liverpool defence. But one, I wouldn't play them. And two, if I'm not going to play Michael Keane, who's on my bench against Southampton, when are you going to play him? Exactly. All right, you could have someone who's cheap, but you just have to watch about if he's going to get started, which I still think he does. But in this game, yeah, Cortex said set piece goal in that game. It's a good show. I can see this being a little bit of a McNeil show. You know what I mean? This is I wouldn't say it was a championship fixture because it's not Everton. I've never been down, but I can just see it. His name flash up, a free kick and an assist, or even 2 goals. I think it does well. Prediction wise, and I think that's where we leave it. Actually, Southampton. I think watching the game, you think, oh, they were unlucky to not get anything from it. But we've said, I've said since the start of the season, that's what their season will be like. Oh, we done really well. We pushed. We almost got that first or second goal. Just it wouldn't go in. And I think that's what happens the weekend. I think Everton finished 2-0. I think it's fairly comfortable for them. And people start looking at Southampton and going, do you know what? That's us. Start playing the kids a little bit.
Do you know what? I agree with pretty much everything you said there.
Because they have to go for, well, all right, you don't have to go for the win, but
I'm going to back Southampton to get a goal, though, in it, just because
I can see it. Yeah.
I don't rate Everton's defence enough. I'll go 2-1 Everton. Wolves v Palace. Okay. Eza, if he's out injured, bit of a concern. Wolves are great for conceding goals, so like if Eza's fit for this game, I expect Palace to quite comfortably win it.
Well, talking. Yeah, this is a great segue. It's like we're a great double act. Talking of Eze scored tonight.
And then went off
And
injured.
he did, and they're currently still beating Aston Villa 2-1. So yeah, it's maybe a good show. How do you see the game going? What ones? Well, they're both coming into a little bit of form.
Who's coming into form?
Well, all right, maybe not form, but Wolves played well last game. They played better than what they were doing.
They didn't. No.
Well, they came back well. They scored 2 goals.
Right, Shane.
I think they had it.
We're going to pause game reviews right now.
Against
I
City,
can't go on
well.
much longer. We're going to pause for a second. We're going to pause because we need to right now. And instead,
against City,
Shane.
Oh, here we go.
Shane,
it's time.
You've got children, don't you?
Yes.
Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night? You know, you're getting older. Your bladder isn't what it used to be.
That's not me. Yeah,
you need to go visit the little boy's room, middle of the night. You don't want to turn any lights on because that'll wake yourself up, right? You don't want to wake yourself up. That's the rule when you go for a pee in the middle of the night. Don't wake yourself up. You walk in darkness so that you don't wake up properly. But your kids, they've left some Lego out and you step straight on that. Oh, yeah. We're in the discomfort zone. And look, today, it's a rant because I'm sick of this. I'm sick of it. We need to talk about Wolves. We need to. They're not unlucky.
Oh,
they've had one win in 20 Premier League games. 7 points from 60. 25 goals conceded in 9 games. They are below Leicester and Southampton for possession. They are bottom 4 for crosses per game. Bottom 5 for passes per game. Bottom 4 for shots per game. 3rd for fouls per game. 0 clean sheets. 2 penalties. It's not form. It's not luck. You can't draw 2 games against Forest. You can't be losing to Bournemouth. You can't be drawing to Burnley. You can't be letting 5 into Brentford. You can't be win this season 9 games in and only 1 win in the 11 games beforehand and start saying that it's unlucky. Wolves are a good team. They deserve a better manager. And until he goes, people bringing in Wolves attackers, you'll get a goal because Wolves will concede 2 every single game. But you're not getting bonus points. You're not getting a win. And you're very rarely, looking at these scores, going to score more than a goal in any game. So that is my rant about Wolves. You can jump back in now, Shane, and we can go back to analysing that game.
I thought you'd let it take the stage, mate. I thought you'd let it take the stage.
I just can't look.
It's good that you highlighted that. I didn't know that.
Unlucky
from that day, and I get it. You know, there is weight behind that.
And look, we'll put it back up on there so you can kind of look at it as we're saying it. Just so I can go back to that page for you, mate. But I get it. Some people have said that, oh, what games would you have expected them to win here? But over a 20-game period, you'd expect them to get a surprise win, right? Or win a game away to Forest out of the 2 times they face them. Or win at home against West Ham. Or win at home against Bournemouth. Or beat Burnley, who were relegated. Or, yeah, it's your only win of the last 20 games shouldn't be against Luton Town.
Yeah, in fact, we were looking that up the other day as well. But yeah, I get it. Maybe I just like the Gary O'Neill vibes, mate. I don't think he's that bad a manager, but listen, those stats.
Bournemouth disagree, right? Bournemouth disagree. They thought he was a bad manager. They replaced him, and they're in a much better place than Wolves are now.
Yeah.
When he left Bournemouth, Wolves were a better team than Bournemouth were. He's then gone to Wolves, and Bournemouth are a better team than Wolves are. Again, I'm not saying he's a bad manager. He just isn't good enough. He's better than I am by a distance. He's better than most people are. But for a team like Wolves, he's not the right guy. So look, anyway, we can go back to it. I'm not saying that they will necessarily lose this game. If Ezra was playing, I would say that they're losing this game. There's a world where they can win this game. And that world is where they score 2 goals again and they don't let in more than 1. I don't know if I can rely on them to do that, though. And that's a concern. When you've conceded 25 in 9 games, can I back you to only let 1 goal in a game? And that's where I struggle with Wolves. I look at this game and it's either a Palace win or a draw. So I'm going 2-2 on this one. I've had my rant, and now we can sort of go to these predictions. I'm going to go with 2-2 on this one, Shane. What about yourself? I know you don't agree with my rant necessarily, but what are you thinking for the game?
No, I get it. Again, we were talking about the other day, actually. It's good to bring it to light that Wolves, there's a point where you're just like, right, well, how much is the manager and how much is the players? That's similar with Man United. I didn't know the stats were that bad. And yeah, now it's the light. I kind of get what you're saying. For me, though, I think Wolves have got the players are just too good to not do something this weekend, especially against Palace. We all think Palace are better now because they beat Spurs. Everyone beats Spurs. Everyone scores against Spurs. Doesn't really matter. So I actually think Wolves at home, I think they get a result. It's just a score, in terms of score for me. I think they score at least 2. Do I go out and go 3? Do you know what I do? I do. I go 3-0. Which is big. I know. And I see Kieran's face. He's like, what? He's like, Shane, are you drinking tonight? It's only a Wednesday. I don't drink as it is anyway. But I just...
You're just banking on the fact that Palace have only scored 5 goals this season, right?
Well, they've not scored many. So yeah. And I think they do, they're at home. They're more buoyant. They've got results.
But they've not played Wolves yet. You get your goals when you play Wolves. Once you play Wolves, that's when your goals pick up.
Yeah, so I go... I go 3-0. I think there's a few people here in the chat. I think Colm...
Well, I was going to say, first of all, Onions has gone, how many do I think they win in the next 8? And Coles has said...
Well, they've got some good fixtures, actually.
Well, that was it. Onions also said, go through the fixtures this season. The next 8 are juicy. And look, I don't disagree with that. But actually, we had this conversation last week. And I was told, well, they've got a good fixture against Brighton. Well, they got 1 point. And as I said earlier in the podcast...
That's a hard fixture, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's a hard one, but people were using that beforehand, going, but now they're coming into a good run of fixtures. And Brighton was claimed as part of that good run. I agree, that's not part of the good run. Palace...
But they do...
Palace people will look back on, right? Let's say Palace finish the season in 7th or 8th. People look back at that and go, well, that was a hard game. They weren't expected to win. The rhetorics are forming, right? Southampton, there's no excuse if they lose to Southampton. Fulham, away, people will say, that's a hard game going away to Fulham. Bournemouth are definitely better than Wolves, as we know.
Are they at home or away, though?
They're away, but I don't think that matters. And then Everton away. So I get those fixtures, but Everton away are tougher than Everton at home. Bournemouth are much better than Wolves are. Fulham at home are better than Wolves are. Southampton they should win, and the Palace game's the only one really. So you're looking at maybe 2 wins out of those 5 for me. I'd be surprised if they pick up more than 6 points over the next 5 games.
Yeah, Onion just said you're muted. Can you just give us a wee thumbs up?
Hello.
Yeah, I think everyone can hear. Just give us a wee thumbs up or a wee X. Just say, Kiss, we're watching. You're working.
Working. So we both predicted that one anyway. Anyway, we'll move on to the next one, which is Spurs v Villa. Quite a good game, right?
This is quite a good game, actually. Yeah, Colm can hear us. Yeah, we're all good. All good news. Thank you, Colm, mate. Hopefully you can hear again, Onions. And yeah, I think actually just quickly go back. Cortex said about Cunha. We'll come on to the team, but yeah, I'm pretty buoyant on Cunha. Wait around for the team. But yeah, Tottenham Villa. Good game. Which way it's going to go? I don't know. I'm 50-50 on this, mate. Quite like the American politics, here. Mate. I'm 50-50.
And again, apologies. I didn't check. I changed the background on one and it's applied it to all of these, unfortunately. So these numbers are hard to see for anyone that does want it on the Tottenham Spurs. I think what we'll start doing, and I think we'll have more time, is I'll try and just upload these slides somehow onto the double pivot Twitter and just post them.
Yes, we
So
will.
people
This
know,
way,
we'll just figure
and
out
we
a way.
will. We'll do the score one as well to keep us to account, mate. We need to do a
No, we don't
running
need.
total.
We don't need to score one. No. We don't need a running total. Don't worry about it. We don't. We don't. Tottenham have scored 7 goals from open play, 7 on the counter, 2 set piece goals. They've conceded 3 set piece goals. Is the one thing that I think stands out in line with Villa scoring 4. So that's an interesting one. Look, we know that an Ange Postecoglou team is going to concede goals, right? So I think that is one thing of
Understatement.
note. And we know that, as we were saying earlier, and maybe we jump back to it again, the Spurs right-hand side loves a shot.
Yeah,
Loves
they
a
do.
shot. They are, again,
Brennan
hidden down
Johnson.
here. We can see the one underneath Crystal Palace, that black bar is Tottenham. No idea. Oh, it's black because it's white, right? Or it was clear, and the background was white before, so that's why. So yeah, look, they're pretty decent at it. These numbers
I
haven't
love this
translated
graphic, by
across
the
the
way.
right way. This one's flipped those two the wrong way round here. So what I'd say is, yeah, they're backwards.
The
Tottenham
majority
Villa
are.
one,
Yeah, the majority are fine.
yeah, the majority are fine. The Tottenham Villa one is actually backwards here because Tottenham do rank around the highest for the shots taken from the left and the right hand side, particularly the right hand side. So as we were saying, they're in the top 5 for all shots taken outside of the centre. And here, the number that you can't see is 34 shots taken from that right-hand side. Villa concede a lot of shots from the right-hand side. So it's a really good matchup for Brennan Johnson. Like a really, really, really good matchup for Brennan Johnson in this
And
game.
Aston Villa never keep a clean sheet either.
No, and that's in
I
behind
don't think they
Lucas
have all
Digne,
season. They haven't kept a clean sheet all season, actually.
which is surprising, right? Because they used to.
Very. I mean, it doesn't matter because they're winning games as such, but yeah, in Europe, they'll keep clean sheets all day in the Champions League. Belong now at home, bam, they'll batter them 3-0. But in the Prem, I can see all day. But yeah, it makes for hard reading, because again, I'm still a little bit like, who takes this one? Do you have? What's your thoughts on who you think takes it? It's a difficult one. It is.
I'm going Villa. I think Spurs just suffer again. I think they
Really?
celebrate the fact that they beat Man City's reserve team in a cup, and
Which
then
is it's still 2-1 actually.
and then they lose to Villa, who have rested their players for this game.
You have. Oh, Villa are getting beat as well, though. Which, I mean, it doesn't matter in the cup. But...
And also, Villa want to prioritise continuing in the Champions League, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Spurs need a
and they've
trophy.
not got
and
the biggest.
I said it a couple of pods back, didn't I? Like, Spurs win a trophy this year. Whether it's the League Cup or the UEFA Cup, they will win one. They will win one. Or Europa League, rather, not UEFA Cup. I'm going back.
I can't believe you're saying that as an Arsenal fan, Kieran.
No, but I think they just will. I don't think it's a good trophy that they win, but they will win a trophy.
See, I just don't. I love the way they play. I love his attacking, but I just think he needs to alter it now and again, or read the situation more. And I just think it hurts them more, especially when they're at home.
I'm going to steal Cortex's prediction, but flip it the other way around here. I'm going to go with a 3-2 to Villa.
Oh, Cortex, don't help him. Don't give him any ideas. 3-2 Villa.
You can take Onions. You can take Onions' prediction if you want.
That's what's Onion got? Colm's got Colm's got 2-1. Oh, so we're predicting a lot of goals. 2-1 by Colm. Desmond by Colm. Onions. 3-2. Oh, do I go for a little 1-0? No. I think they've rested players. Tottenham, they're going to push up. I know I don't like doing it, but I'm going to go 2-1. I'm going to go 2-1 with Colm. Hey, me and Colm in simpatico. That's what we are.
There we are. Cortex said, if Son's fit, Spurs will win the game. Final game. Final home straight here. We are having a Monday night game this week, and it's going to be Fulham versus Brentford. As a owner of 2 Brentford attackers, I would like to think they will do well, but Fulham are just one of those teams that they make teams take shots from outside the box. They're another one of those teams that's white, so the things haven't appeared when the background's changed here last minute, so that sucks. Again, apologies for that. Fulham do allow a lot of shots from the left and right, though, as well. So the numbers that are missing are 25 and 20 from the Fulham's left and right-hand side. But Brentford allow a lot of shots from inside their 6-yard box, which is where we know like a Raul Jimenez operates. We can see people like a Wobie having good runs at these people. A Smith Rowe arriving late in there. But Brentford are a strong defensive team. And also, they're a very well-built set-piece team. We spoke about it in our
Yes, they
pre-season
are.
pods, but the vast majority of set-piece coaches came from Brentford. You know, they were one of the first teams to really invest in stats and set-piece coaching, etc. And they have scored 3 goals from set pieces, and Fulham have conceded 4 from set pieces. Again, the number that's missing there is 4 goals conceded by Fulham from set pieces, and Fulham haven't scored any. So, is this? And actually, that's the other thing. I can't remember who I was listening to say it. So, apologies to whichever podcast I was listening to. But Brentford's centre backs XG in the last 3 games has been incredible. It's been over 0.5 in each of the games. Now that's
Do you know
more than
what?
Dominic Calvert-Lewin's been getting. So like Ethan Pinnock has been
Do you know what?
in it.
I was just about to say to you before, and listen, if you're doing the pod, obviously if you listen to the pod back on, replay or Spotify, obviously me and Kieran collaborate a little bit before. We want to keep it organic, so don't collaborate too much of what we got planned. And I was just waiting for a break in you chatting to say, do you know who I've been looking at this weekend? Ethan Pinnock. He scored 2 in the last 2, and the man is a unit. And I think they're one of the players that, they're one of the teams that Brentford are usually fairly strong defensively. And actually, I think they've only conceded, they've only kept 1 or 2 clean sheets. I think it's 1. So that they'll be tightening up soon. And I think this could be the game where they get a set piece return because the stats look really, really good. And they also get a clean sheet. And your main man there being Ethan Pinnock of one of them.
Exactly. Well, look, what are you going for in this game then, Shane? I do agree with you on liking their defenders.
Well, do you know what I go for? I'm just looking at the stats there. I'm pretty sure they've kept 1 clean sheet all season, which you don't expect out of Brentford, although they have been scoring, like the 4-3. Doesn't matter because you're going ahead. That's at home. Away from home, I think they start tightening up. I think Fulham, yeah, they're at home, but I think, the goals start reducing, and I think Brentford win it 2-0.
I've done it. I finally got one of yours right early. I went 2-0 early, and I've gone 3-1 for myself.
I want to see what Colm, because I've copied Colm in the other ones, bar this one, so I want to see. Oh, he's gone Fulham 2-2.
Oh, Desmond, another Desmond.
Oh, Desmond, mate.
Not what he hoped for either, because he's a Fulham fan.
So, yeah, he is, yeah. So Cortex, thanks for that, mate. Yeah, I was thinking that. I thought they maybe had 1, but they've had no clean sheet at all. And they're too good at set up a team, like you were saying, defensively, or just in general, their shape, to go and not having clean sheets. And I think this is the first one, mate.
Nice. Well, look, that's the end of the game. So, Shane, do you have a veteran's vision for us this week?
I do have a veteran's vision, mate. Give me the stage again. Here we go.
Give you the stage.
So this one.
Whoa! Wait, I'll give you the stage. Give me a second. Give me a second. We've lost the stage, and now it's just me. It's gone horrifically wrong. It was meant to.
Here we go. Right. So, for all those listening on podcast, they can't see my face. You will see that this week, or you'll hear this week, this is quite a straightforward one that I'm going for, really. And it's going for the fact of one man who is very expensive in the game, and his name is Erling Haaland. 15.4 million. And what do we see now? There's a lot of people saying it. There's a lot of people, especially content creators, that are going, oh, you know what? If I take this guy out, I can have so much better midfielder. Or I can have, a striker that that's continually to bang. And that's going to be my little rant. Kieran's had his. I've got mine now. We said this at the start of the season, or at least I said this at the start of the season. And this has been forgotten about into the doldrums of Twitter. And it's just becoming a possibility now when myself, I know Andy Martin, quite a few of other people, James from Planet, we went without for a lot of the time. We only had him for these 2. I think James still hasn't got him. And that's the thing, right? And that's what I want to say, really. Don't forget about the guys that over the first 5-6 game weeks were getting absolutely crucified. And by the way, I love it. If anyone wants to come and give me a banner, I love it. So just remember mainly to play your own way. And for me, Haaland's too expensive. He comes out. And that's Veteran's Vision, mate.
From the person who...
That was quite a low on a rant for me. That was like a 6.5. That wasn't like a Man U 9 rant. I kept that down, mate.
It was, mate, yeah. All right, sweet. Well, look, we'll obviously need to come on to see what your team looks like. But before we do that, we did ask people to predict who the highest scoring player last week would be. That was priced under 9 million. for a mug giveaway. We had 5 people guess Umbumo, who was the highest scoring one out of the ones that were guessed. I think a Pinnock was guessed, a Madison, a Solanke, a Visser, and a few others as well. So we've got 2 mugs to give away, Shane. We're going to do it live on here so we can record it and there's no funny business.
The suspense is killing me, Kieran.
I'm not sure if Wade is still in the chat with us, but Wade always wins, so I imagine Wade's going to win. I'm going to wait.
Yeah, he does actually. I always see him
click to
juicing
spin.
that.
I'm going to click to spin once it lands on Wade to see if we can get it to not land on him. Right? Because it can't land on what it started on. That would just be rigged.
Oh, I thought that was coming in.
There we are. So we got Geddy for the first mug.
Geddy.
So nice work, Geddy. And then the next one. Oh, right, Wade's back, so he's going to win it this time because he was eating. So here we go.
Oh, was he?
Here we go. You got no chance on this one. You got no chance.
Oh, I sneaked in.
Robbie. So Robbie and Geddy will be the winners of the 2 mugs. Do you know what? We'll do a test. I'm going to give them till we next record to DM me with their details, and I'll send it. If not, I'll DM them over the weekend. But let's just see if they
well done, gentlemen.
Or listen.
Well done.
Sweet. Well, look, Shane, we'll finish it up with our teams and how we look for next week. So, my team, I'm probably not going to be doing anything different, mate. I am...
You kind of set up last week, didn't you?
Yeah, I took the -8. I'm thinking of benching Lewis, and seeing him start today has actually made me more likely, because I would quite like to have Mikolenko and Aït-Nouri playing, to be honest, over Lewis just for this one. Mitoma drops to the bench so that Delap can start with a nice home fixture against Leicester. McNeil's got a nice fixture, so we've got double up of Everton. Do you know what? It's horrible to look at that. I've got a double up of Everton, double up of Brentford, and
But the Southampton, mate, I think
and a double up of Ipswich in my team here. Obviously, Greaves is whatever. He's bench fodder at this point. But again, it was set up for these fixtures. There's an argument where maybe I start Fabianski, because if he doesn't play, he won't play.
I'm starting him. And I think he does, because that's the first game he's come back. He was a little bit, he had a few mistakes at the start of the season, got dropped. Ariola's been poor. Fabianski, if you've seen the highlights, he rolled back the years and he pulled off some fantastic saves, mate. So, nice. I mean, we could probably ask FPL fella, but I've got no doubts he starts, mate.
Nice. All right, well, sweet. Look, I'm not going to be doing anything. I will be rolling, and I actually back Haaland to do well this week.
No chance. So you've not had a thought through your head of Haaland out at all?
No.
Sticking?
No. Yeah, no, I'm fine with it for this game. I think these fixtures are the ones that he does better in, because he's not going to be playing a low to mid block. I think he gets more of those spaces. And I think Salah does well in those as well. I think they go toe for toe with each other. But the only way that I get a benefit from selling Haaland... The only way I get benefit from selling Haaland is by taking another hit. And the only player I'd upgrade is Mitoma, but he's got decent fixtures coming up as well. So the plan is just to roll with it for 2 weeks and then do a pretty significant mass flip-flop then, basically. So that's my plan. Yourself, though, Shane, you've been, you're a Haaland owner that's been going on all week on X going, I told you Haaland's bad, but you own Haaland. So, what the heck? You don't own Haaland, Shane.
Look at the surprise. Look at the surprise.
Front three of Cunha, Evanilson, and Stewart.
If you're listening on the pod, that is definitely not my front three.
That is your front three.
Oh, you mean? Oh, I thought you meant playing. Yeah.
Well, no, not playing, but your 3 strikers are Cunha, Evanilson, and Stewart.
I fancy Evanilson. I'm not playing.
That cost you like £25 for all 3 of them?
Exactly. And then look at that midfield. But if anyone, if people are listening back on podcast, yes, Haaland is out my team, and really, I generally don't think Haaland will.
So what were the moves? It looks like a lot of moves here, Shane.
So I took a -4 this week. I had 2 moves. One, I wanted to bring in Wissa last week, right? And I kind of missed that boat. He's still a good choice, but I can't turn down Cunha this week. He scored 2 goals in the last 3 against Palace. I think Wolves show to everyone this weekend that they're actually a decent team. So I've led the line with him. If you listen on podcast, right at the back, he's going to become Fabianski, because Fabianski will start, so he'll play Forest. The big King Michael Keane's there. Alexander-Arnold, Lewis, and Robertson. Robertson is probably going to come out maybe for Konsa. Embuemo, and listen to this midfield. Embuemo, Palmer, Buonanotte, Saka, Salah. Tell me you're not jealous of that midfield.
I'm not.
Your silence confirms it.
But I'm not. I'm
Uh,
not, right, because I'm looking at it and like
Salah,
Foden
yeah,
v
McNeil could
Saka.
match Salah, right?
Foden and Saka are the same, right? As in, like, look, I'd rather have Saka, but at the moment, I'm happy to roll with Foden for 2 games, and it's the same price point, right? We both got Mbumo. We both got Palmer. McNeil is better than Buonanotte. So really, all it is Salah's better than Matoma. But then my front three's a lot better.
Yeah, it's all about it's all about attacks. For me, it's just the flexibility. Again, for anyone who's like, oh, Haaland's still good. He is still good. I love watching him play. He's a fantastic player. I don't think he's poor. I just think the money it gives you, the flexibility it gives you. Once other players, namely Trent, who's been feeling unlucky, starts firing, people are going to be looking at other ways to get money. They're already saying. I've seen a few content creators today post on my X. Oh, if I take Haaland out, I could get him. And like I said at the start of the season, actually, which is good, Kieran, it's validated me a bit in terms of Haaland scored such a high rate of goals, and no other striker was firing during that period. Really, not one striker scored more than 2 goals, and now they are their options. But
So I just want to recap. Actually, I was just thinking about it, and this made me think of it. But your veteran visions we've had so far have been Fodanki, which failed.
yeah, the Fadanki doesn't go the best. I blame Pep, mate. I blame Pep.
And now you've had a rant about how Haaland, you need to take him out. So he's probably going to haul this week, right?
He probably and listen, I wish again.
Stuttering, stumbling. I.
I wish I played how I thought from the very start. Last year, I got caught out a little bit with Haaland and slow to get maybe on Salah and a few other players. And this season, I said preseason when we were doing a pod as well, I was like, I like Welbeck. Didn't follow through with it, should have followed through it. And even over that period, when I thought, do you know what, I'll keep no Haaland for Wolves, see how it gets on. And I probably would have ended up not doing Southampton, even if I did. But again, just stand by what you think and play the game. But the moves that I did do was Cunha, Palmer, and Salah in for let's have a wee look here. Haaland,
Foden.
Semenyo, and Foden. I mean, look at that. Semenyo, Foden, and Haaland out for Palmer, Salah, and Cunha.
Well, so look,
I think
Cortex
those
did
moves are
somewhat similar to you almost. He did Gabriel to out Nuri, and he's brought in Cunha as well for a -4. Although he's asking this actually, he's gone talk to me about Cunha. I don't like Cunha. I prefer Wood or Visser or Jimenez.
which I get that.
But that's
But
because
they're
Wolves
quite
are
close.
awful, right? But and that they only score 1 goal a game, right? Until Wolves can start scoring 2 or 3 a game, I'd rather
clip
see
that
it.
right now. That's getting clipped right now because over the weekend, I think
I
they
need
scored
to
2 or
see
3.
it. No, but I'd rather see it and then go, okay.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I went with Wissa because I knew Brentford could score 2 or 3 goals a game.
Against anyone, by the way.
Yeah, and it was a risk to bring him in earlier because it was hoping he'd then start. But that was taking a risk with the player, not with the team. Whereas I think with Cunha, you're taking more of a risk with the team than suddenly scoring more goals. Which, look, they might do.
I think it's a good run as well. You could play him a lot. He's on pens as well. And I think there will be a few games where he gets 2 goals and assist or a goal and assist and some bonus. And I think, the game of the weekend is. On the 8 Nori, I'm not as bullish on him. Yes, I know he's basically a winger. I love watching him play. Great player. But the fact he scored, I think, in the last 2 games is offsetting his points. You want to defend
Yeah,
the
but
first
he'll
and
continue.
foremost.
No, you don't. There aren't clean sheets in this game. At his price point, basically, if I'm looking at this transfer, Gabriel to 8 Nuri, I did it as part of my -8, and I benched 8 Nuri for last week. I like the Gabriel to 8 Nuri because it frees up $1.5 million, and that's just massive.
And Arsenal,
that's why I like it.
Through a patch.
I wouldn't necessarily then do the Cunha one, but look, that's just me. Who was the Cunha for? Was that for Delap? Did he say? Because you've removed it here.
Oh, what one's this?
Delap to Cunha, no, from Cortex.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Delap to Cunha as well. Look, I like Delap for this week.
I like Delap.
I'm playing Delap this week, and I know he didn't play the last week, but I think Delap playing with Sami Szmodic is actually going to be quite a good one.
Coming to
we've got another question from Colm, and look, fire in any questions, but ideally make them quick because I'm done. to be honest.
I
I love
know.
you all, but it's bedtime.
I
So
know
calm.
straight away. I know the answer to this. So Colm, if you're listening again on podcast, Colm says I may go no Haaland in game week 12, which a lot of people are doing wildcard. My midfielders will be Salah, Saka, Palmer, and Mbeumo. The other position is still open. I'll tell you right now. Who it is.
Emil
Bruno.
Smith-Rowe.
Bruno. A
Yeah, it might
midfield
be.
of Salah, Saka, Palmer, and Mbeumo, and Bruno is wow.
Yeah,
And
I
I think
think,
that's what you get.
but I think you might end up covering Manu with Mazraoui and Haaland together, or Xerxes together potentially. All right, sweet. Well, look, I don't see any other questions in there. Thank you to Al for doing the raid and for pinging over quite a few people into the live chat to join us in here. We were aiming for this to be closer to an hour, and we've gone longer. So, yeah, I think Shane and I were talking about movies and Halloween for about 20 minutes at the start, so that'll be why. So, thank you to anyone who's listened in. And if you don't want to hear about me talking about Halloween and that kind of stuff, then you can skip the first 20 minutes of the pod.
Well, it's about
Tom
12. I think it's
cannot
about 12.
have Bruno in his team, which I totally understand and respect. But look, we're going to end it there. It was a day earlier, so we should hopefully be able to get some of this clipped and out to you guys to be able to view. And like I said, I'll play around with the spreadsheet, reformat it, and see if I can post it on Twitter or X for people to have a look at. But no, that's my outro, Shane. I'll leave you to do the official wrapping up.
The official, listen again. If you're listening back on podcast, thanks very much. If you want to leave a review, whatever you think, hopefully 5 stars. Hopefully we're good enough for 5 stars. I like to think we are. Everyone who listens like to think we are. So that'd be great if you could comment and interact. That's what we love doing on the pod. Everyone who joined us tonight, Colm, Wade, Cortex, everyone else, thank you very much. We'll look out for next game week 11 and we'll see you at the weekend. Good luck. Have a good Halloween. Bye-bye.